called, this is for an arithmetic sequence. It says let an be the nth term, so some number, of an arithmetic sequence. The first term is a1, and the common difference is d. So maybe underline that. This is called the explicit rule. I need you to write that because tomorrow we're doing another one. And this is the one that you're going to use the most common, or most often. It is used to find the nth term. So if I ask you, find the 100th term, you're going to use this formula. Find the 2000th term, you're going to use this formula every time. We'll do another one tomorrow. You do not use that one. Okay, we're literally going to plug into this formula. After we're done writing it, I want you to look at it and see what does it maybe remind you of. Okay, write an equation for the nth term of the arithmetic sequence 14, 11, 8, 5. Then find A50, so find the 50th term. Okay, what's my common difference? Subtracting 3. Okay, so that would be D. What's my first term? Don't overthink this. What's the first number? 14. Okay, so the first term, A1, is 14. The common difference, because this is arithmetic, is -3. It's subtracting 3 over and over. So we are finding the 50th term, so we're going to use the explicit rule, which is right above that. So we're literally going to plug in everything we know. A, N. So to find some number in the sequence, we do the first term, A1, which is 14. Plus, you are literally going to write, so it's n minus 1 times d. We're going to put, I'll go and do this. So n minus 1, and then put the multiplication sign just so you understand. Then you're multiplying by -3. So here's what it does. Because this is the first term, it's actually not like where the sequence starts. There's actually a 0th term, which is why we go backwards 1. And it's multiplying a certain number of times, subtracting 3. So it's doing it for you. Okay, now we plug in the number. We want the 50th term. So you're going to do A50. So where you see n, now you're going to replace it with 50. So it'll be 50 minus 1. So you're going to take what it's telling it to do is start at 14 and then subtract 3 49 more times. Because if you do it 49 more times, you get to the 50th term. That's what it says. So what you're actually going to solve, if you want to simplify this, is 14 plus 49 times -3. Can you please find the 50th term? So plug in to your calculator, figure out what's the 50th term. You're doing subtracting 3 49 times, and you're adding it on to 14, which is your first term. So I need you to plug it in your calculator. I think it should be it should be a negative number. Do we get -133? Or did I do something wrong? Okay, good. So the 50th term, A50, is negative 133. And if you were to write out the sequence and keep it going until you got to the 50th number, you would get the same thing. But this makes much quicker work of it because it does it 49 times for you, multiplying. So you always have to start out by finding what's your first term, what's your common difference. So we're going to move on to the next one. Haley, what's my first term? 8. So that's A1. And Serenity, what's my common difference? It is. So positive 8. So now we're going to write it out. AN is equal to, we're using the formula right above, A1 plus, oh, I forgot to replace it. A1 is 8 plus n minus 1 times 8. You can put the 8 in front. So I know it says n minus 1 and then times d. You can put d right here if you want. That's totally fine. Can you look at this? We have an equation that we've seen before that looks kind of like this, that's in this form. What does it remind you of? Where you have a number by itself and then another number times something with a variable. Arithmetic are like linear functions. What formula is this like? This one. Where this is where it starts, and then this is how it changes, multiplied by how many times. So arithmetic is like linear, and so it's modeled based off of that. Okay. We're finding the 25th term, says A25. So A25 is equal to 8 plus 8 times 25 minus 1, so 24. Can you go ahead and figure out what the 25th term is? Plug it in, see what you get. Victor, what is it? 200. Yes, it is. The 25th term is 200. Cool. So this one is like, if what you're looking for is, I know which one is arithmetic because it kind of looks like slope-intercept form. It's adding, it's got a number times something with a variable. Flip it over. Now we're doing geometric. So geometric is real similar. You got to find the first term. You got to find how it's changing. Geometric sequences are like exponentials, and so when we look at these sequences, it should look like an exponential function, a times b raised to an exponent. So here is your formula to find the nth term. Again, first term is a1, common ratio is r. This is called the explicit rule because it explicitly finds the nth term for us. Does it? This is always the one that you use. And if you're confused about, okay, both these have an A. On the EOC reference sheet, it actually has a G, so you can tell the difference between the two, and I'll put up that one as well on the board, so you can use either one. In the book, for some reason, it uses A. But you know the difference because of how it looks. Remember that exponential is A times B to the X. That's basically what you have here. A, where it starts, times B, the rate, to an exponent. So that's exponential, so it's geometric. I don't know that we're going to do all of these. We'll see. So start by finding A1. we're going to find the nth term. We're finding 10th term for all of these. Lucas, what's my first term? 2. And Kevin, what's my common ratio? What's it multiplying by?
6.
Mm-hmm. So R equals 6. This is a common ratio. It's multiplying. Okay. We are using the formula that's right above. So AN equals the first term, 2, times the common ratio, 6, raised to n minus 1. I hope you see that and think that looks like an exponential function, because that's exactly what it is. It looks a little bit different because we start at the first term, and so it's going to do it it's going to multiply by 6 one less time. We're finding it says 10th term, so A10. 2 times 6 raised to 10 minus 1, so you are raising it to the 9th power. Can you please find what is the 10th term? It's going to be a really big number, and that's okay. So go ahead and type it in. Type it in your calculator yourself, see what the answer is. As long as you type in exactly what's on the board, then you should get the right thing. Okay, the 10th term is a really large number. This is what you should have. So 20,155,392. We're going to do number 2 together, and then I'll have you do one more and try it by yourself. Number 2, Justin, what's my first term for number 2? What's your first number in the sequence?
1.
Yeah, your first term is 1. You're overthinking that. It's okay. Okay, and Lucas, what's the common ratio? It is multiplying by -5. So plug it in, plug it in. Your first term is 1. You're multiplying it by the common ratio, -5, raising it to n minus 1. You are finding the 10th term. So 10 minus 1 would be 9. Make sure when you type this in your calculator, -5 goes in parentheses, because you're raising a negative number to a power.
Why does N? Why does N equal 2?
Because it says to find A10. Find the 10th term. Please go ahead and type it in your calculator. Should be a pretty large number again. When you get it, check it. I've written the 10th term up on the board. I want you to type it in and see if you get the same thing. Lucas, type it in. Yeah. You're going to do 3 and 4. You can do those. Be careful, number 3 is dividing, which means that you have to change your common ratio into a fraction. So do 3 and 4. You can work with your partner. I'll put the answers up on the board. for those, so you can check your work after you're done. Number 3, you're going to get your answer in scientific notation. You're not wrong.